It does not matter whether you are traveling by train, by bus, or flying on an airplane. Strange and frightening things can happen anywhere. From cube-shaped UFOs and passengers spotting mysterious figures among the clouds, to airplanes losing wheels in midair, and truly tragic goodbyes. Here are the things that passengers managed to capture on camera, although perhaps no one was ever supposed to see them. During a flight over the ocean, one of the passengers managed to film something truly strange. A mysterious object was moving alongside the airplane, performing maneuvers that no ordinary aircraft is capable of. It sharply changed its trajectory, as if playing with the plane. At one point, the object resembled something like a whale or a gigantic living creature. That was enough to trigger a storm of guesses and questions. What exactly was flying next to the airliner? They say that in places where people have passed away, their souls can remain forever. And perhaps there is a grain of truth in those words. One passenger, stranded at night in an airport in Thailand, managed to record a terrifying video. The footage shows people walking along the jet bridge, but when they reach its end, they literally vanish. The strangest thing was that there was not a single airplane nearby, and the jet bridge itself seemed to be hanging in the air. When the camera zoomed in, it became clear. These were not ordinary passengers, but dark, almost transparent silhouettes. No one knows where they came from and where they disappeared after walking through that sinister corridor. This case became one of the most tragic. During the flight, an aircraft of Southwest Airlines had an engine explosion. Debris punched through the fuselage, and one passenger was almost sucked outside through the shattered window. Realizing how serious what was happening was, another passenger bought onboard Wi-Fi and sent farewell messages to loved ones, believing these might be his last words. Thanks to the pilot's skill, the plane still managed to make an emergency landing, and most passengers survived. But that flight remained in the memory of everyone who was on board forever. In January 2016, a passenger flying from Austria to London at an altitude of 30,000 feet noticed something truly creepy outside the window. Among the clouds, a figure was clearly visible, as if walking across the sky, and a shadow was stretching beside it. Some suggested it was only smoke or an unusual lighting effect. However, the clear outlines of the figure made many doubt a simple explanation. It remained unknown what exactly the passenger managed to see that day. In February 2018, passengers aboard an Airbus A320 encountered an unexpected sight. At an altitude of 30,000 feet, an unknown object appeared next to their airliner. One passenger took out a phone and began filming, trying to see it better. It did not look like a balloon or a drone. The object moved smoothly, without any visible engines or wings. A metallic dark cube was about 9 meters from the airplane. According to eyewitness estimates, its size was from 3 to 5 meters in diameter. With every zoom, the object looked clearer and even more mysterious. Real panic began when one of the passengers accidentally filmed the moment the plane lost a wheel immediately after takeoff. The pilot almost instantly understood what had happened and made the decision for an urgent landing. He had to distribute the load onto the remaining wheel to avoid a catastrophe. In the end, the plane landed safely, but those few minutes in the air felt like a real nightmare to the passengers. Lucas Kim was flying from home to Thailand when he noticed something unusual outside the window. At first, he thought it was another airplane, but on closer inspection, it turned out there were 6 separate objects in the sky. He described them as glowing lights of a greenish-yellow hue. At first, it was a small white dot far from the wing, but when zoomed in, it became clear. It was several light sources moving synchronously. Later, the lights split into pairs and disappeared from view one after another, leaving only questions behind. During a flight over the Pacific Ocean, the pilot was not the only one in the sky. In the video, you can see from 9 to 12 bright objects that periodically light up and dim, but at the same time keep the same speed and direction. Skeptics believe these could have been missile defense heat flares released from another airplane or a ship. However, no evidence for this version has been found to this day. In November 2016, a 32-year-old security guard experienced an event he remembered for the rest of his life. At around 3 o'clock in the morning, after finishing his shift, he heard a strange noise in the cabin of an airplane that sounded like a door slamming. Arming himself with a flashlight, he walked down the aisle, but found nothing unusual. Just as he was about to leave, he heard a sound behind him. When the beam of light illuminated the aisle, the guard saw a dark figure peeking out from around the corner. The creature began to move, and the man, without thinking twice, ran, saving his life. This is probably the saddest video in today's compilation. The train was moving at high speed when a herd of reindeer ended up on the tracks. For those who do not know, animals like deer or moose, in a moment of danger, instinctively look for the path with the fewest obstacles. That is exactly why they keep running along the rails instead of turning into the forest, which seems like the obvious solution to a human. Because of this, many animals did not manage to get off the track and ended up under the train's wheels. The footage is hard, but it clearly shows how instincts can play a fatal role. In this video, passengers discovered live crabs scattered right across the floor of a train car. At first, everyone thought they were dead, but soon it became noticeable. Some of them were moving. One passenger tried to save the animals and began pouring water on them so they would not die. To this day, it is unknown who and why left the crabs on the train. Someone suggested that it could have been a strange joke aimed at a person with the zodiac sign, Cancer. Personally, many considered such a joke extremely questionable. It is hard to imagine what it would have been like if the victim had been, for example, Pisces. This video was filmed by a man in a subway car. A woman sitting opposite him was behaving extremely strangely, and he decided to turn on the camera. The recording shows her talking to herself, paying no attention to those around her. The man specifically showed that there was no one next to her, except him. This means she really was not talking to someone nearby, but as if to someone invisible. To this day, no one has been able to understand what exactly she was trying to do or to whom her words were addressed. Most of us know reindeer thanks to Christmas stories and Santa Claus. Although in reality they cannot fly, these animals are incredibly hardy and fast. In this video, a train passenger captured a reindeer that easily kept up with the speed of the train, racing alongside through the snow. Interesting fact, in North America, reindeer are also called caribou. Unlike most deer species, both males and females have antlers. These animals are capable of migrating more than 3,000 miles a year, more than any other land mammal. Everyone knows that anything can happen on board an airplane. Someone screams, someone argues, children cry. But this couple decided to stand out for real. They held a wedding ceremony right in the air. Since in many states there were restrictions on mass events, the flight passengers were exclusively relatives and close friends of the couple. Essentially, the whole family took to the sky to help the lovers officially tie the knot. Titanoboa is a gigantic snake considered extinct, just like the dinosaurs. According to scientists, it was the largest snake-like creature that ever existed on Earth. However, a video suddenly appeared on the internet and went viral. It shows a creature astonishingly similar to a living Titanoboa slowly crawling along an island. If this is true, then a frightening question arises. What if our planet still hides ancient creatures we know nothing about? It is not for nothing that they say love makes people feel as if they are flying. This man decided to test that expression literally. During the flight, he pranked his girlfriend, claiming the airplane was supposedly malfunctioning. At the moment when she was shocked by what was happening, he suddenly proposed to her right in the air. At first, she could not say a single word, but a few minutes later, she still said the cherished yes. Several passengers lived through one of the scariest flights of their lives. In the air, the airplane's engine suddenly exploded and caught fire. We are talking about a Boeing 777 of United Airlines, which was forced to make an emergency landing in Denver. Engine debris was falling onto a residential area beneath the plane. One passenger filmed the damaged engine on video while the pilots did everything possible to land the airliner. To this day, the official cause of the engine failure remains unknown. It looks like in Malaysia things really happen that are difficult to explain. In this video, two people are driving on an empty road at night and suddenly notice a figure sitting right in the middle of the highway. The person looks absolutely unbothered. The dialogue between the driver and the passenger sounds so calm that it makes you laugh. If horror movie characters behaved just as reasonably, most of them would probably survive. They decided not to check who it was, turned around, and left, avoiding a possible encounter with something truly terrifying. This impressive video captures the moment a meteorite falls, rapidly rushing from the sky to the ground. The person filming what was happening was completely caught off guard, especially by the loud sound accompanying this phenomenon. Everything lasted only a few seconds, but the effect was overwhelming. Although eyewitnesses had concerns that someone might have been hurt, the recording ends without any signs of destruction. Such events happen extremely rarely, and each time remind us how vast and unpredictable the universe is. Imagine, an ordinary sunny day, you step outside and notice a huge moon in the sky. And suddenly, something strange appears next to it. An object that literally a second later crashes into the moon, causing a bright flash. Not only you saw it, but many other people around you as well. The explosion was clearly visible to the naked eye. And no, this video is not a fake. What happened still causes disputes and shock among those who witnessed this unusual event. A few months ago, the internet exploded with a video filmed in China. The footage shows a glowing vertical object, as if appearing out of nowhere. Many thought it looked like a portal to another reality, like gates through which other beings could enter our world. Dozens of eyewitnesses recorded this phenomenon on their phones, discussing its origin. What it really was, a rare atmospheric phenomenon or something more, remains a mystery. An ordinary cloud in the sky would not surprise anyone. Even a sky painted in red shades seems quite acceptable. But a huge red cloud of a perfectly round shape, standing out against the background of the others, that is a completely different story. That is exactly the site residents of Turkey observed. Some claimed it was a camouflaged UFO. However, none of the explanations received any official confirmation. Many people like to lie down and look at clouds, finding familiar shapes in them. Sometimes they are animals, sometimes fantastic creatures. But this time, everything was different. People noticed clouds forming a clear silhouette of a human face. It seemed as if that face was moving across the sky, heading somewhere into the distance. Scientists acknowledge that such distinct forms in clouds are extremely rare, and the reasons for the appearance of exactly such an image are still unknown. During a tourist photo shoot against the backdrop of a beautiful building, the camera operator noticed something strange in the background. High in the sky, there was an object resembling a person hovering in the air. Whether it was really a person, it is impossible to say. The object resco accelerated and disappeared at an incredible speed, leaving no logical explanation for what was happening. None of the existing versions has been able to fully clarify the situation. What began as a tiny dot in the sky turned into a bright streak of light in a matter of seconds. Residents of Arizona watched this phenomenon and managed to capture it on video. But that was not all. Inside the glowing trail, you could make out small circles spinning in a spiral. Was it a rocket launch or something completely different that also remained unanswered? Even scientists were not able to give a convincing explanation. An angel descending from the heavens, or an alien ship heading toward Earth? Among dark clouds, a vertical beam of light suddenly appeared, a sight that is hard to call ordinary. Such a phenomenon does not fit into the familiar framework of natural processes. That is exactly why the video caused so much discussion and so many guesses around the world. In one of the videos, you can see something resembling a flying city, like a frame from a science fiction film. One clip turned out to be a skillful fake, but another made even skeptics doubt. The clouds took the shape of a huge megapolis with high-rise buildings and complex architecture. And then the question arises, is this only a game of imagination and nature, or is something more hidden behind the clouds? Corey Heron was live streaming on Facebook, sharing with viewers his plans and everyday things. It was at that moment that something strange happened in the sky. Suddenly, a small oblong shape appeared, which before everyone's eyes began to take the outline of an angel or another otherworldly creature. The most amazing thing was that it was the only cloud in a clear sky. The recording was watched by almost 6 million people. According to Corey himself, if it had not been filmed live, no one would have believed him. At night, in the sky over India, an even line of bright lights appeared. Some claimed it was a rocket, others were sure it was a UFO. But if it was a launch, how do you explain that the lights disappeared after 5 minutes, as if they had never existed? Local residents watched what was happening the entire time, not understanding what exactly they were seeing. The video instantly spread across Twitter, causing intense discussions and arguments. In April 2021, one news channel aired a report that instantly attracted viewers' attention. It was about UFOs recorded on several videos and photographs at once. The footage, zoomed in and shot using night vision devices, showed pyramidal objects moving in the sky. Later, it turned out that the same 3 objects had been observed near Australia back in 2019. If these are really UFOs, then why are they hiding from humanity? Some call it a manifestation of witchcraft, others, an inexplicable natural phenomenon. A dark, smoky ring appeared in the sky, as if hanging in the air. From different angles it looked different, sometimes dense, sometimes semi-transparent. Some are sure it is a portal or a tear in space. To this day, there is not a single explanation that would satisfy everyone. Everyone has seen a rainbow in the sky, but a cloud that seems to be made of the colors of the rainbow themselves is a much rarer sight. That is exactly what happened in China. Above the city appeared a cloud in the form of a bright, twisted spiral, shimmering with all the colors of the spectrum. People watched it from their windows, not believing their eyes. It felt as if another fantastical world was being created above the earth. Sometimes nature amazes so much that it is impossible to look away. That happened in Sweden, where a rare solar halo appeared above a mountain slope. People who were skiing stopped and silently looked at that glowing ring around the sun. It is a reminder that, despite all technological progress, the beauty of nature remains beyond time. This sight can be called both frightening and mesmerizing. Lightning tearing out of an ash cloud above an erupting volcano looks like a scene from a disaster film. This happens when static electricity accumulates in the volcanic plume, almost the same way as in ordinary thunderclouds, but only a few get to see it live. A video filmed in the mountains of Tibet on the territory of India caused fierce debate. It shows a creature writhing in the sky and resembling a Chinese dragon. Its movements look too smooth and too alive. However, the blurry quality of the recording and the unknown source make one doubt its authenticity. But what if, for a moment, you allow the thought that dragons really do exist and simply hide from people? Over Beijing, a cloud appeared that eyewitnesses immediately nicknamed Rainbow. It shimmered with colors and looked as if it had been created not by nature, but by something else. It was a single phenomenon that never repeated again. Scientists did not manage to study it in detail, but even without explanations, it remained one of the most beautiful sights in the sky. While studying satellite images of Antarctica, one researcher noticed something strange. Under a layer of snow, there was a metallic object casting a clear shadow. In his opinion, it could have been an ancient alien ship buried under the ice for thousands of years. As the ice melted, the object began to gradually reveal itself. What is it? A trace of an extraterrestrial civilization or an unusual natural form? In Jordan, a man was filming a scenic landscape when he noticed something strange in the air. When zoomed in, it became visible as a glowing creature floating in the sky, like a jellyfish in water. It could have been editing, an optical illusion, or something completely unknown. But this video left no one indifferent. A video from California caused a real internet explosion. In the frame, a figure hovering high in the sky. Some are sure it is Jesus, others believe it is only a balloon. The author of the video claims he saw the figure descending from the clouds, which makes what is happening even more mysterious. In 2009, a strange object was filmed with the help of a telescope in Hawaii. At first, it looked like a small glowing dot, but then it began to rotate, turning into a real celestial whirl. Many suggested that it could be an entrance to another dimension or a wormhole. After a few seconds, the object completely disappeared, leaving no explanation. To this day, this video is considered one of the most mysterious sky recordings in history. We are used to thinking that we know this world, that the sky is only the atmosphere, the road is just a path, and a journey ends at the destination. But each of these frames proves the opposite. Sometimes the strange happens exactly when no one expects it. Between cities, above the clouds, in the night silence, or at an altitude of 30,000 feet. Were these natural phenomena, errors of perception, or moments when reality, for a second, slightly opened what it hides from us? There is no answer. There are only recordings, witnesses, and the feeling that we see only a small part of what is happening. And that means the most interesting is still ahead.